Do you feel overwhelmed when it comes to growing your coaching business? This is one of the most common things I hear from new coaches, especially coaches that I speak to about working together to build their business. They feel totally overwhelmed. They do not know what to be doing. They are stuck in analysis paralysis, procrastination, perfectionism. They spend a lot of time looking at different resources online, looking at different experts and getting all of this information and just not knowing what to do. So when they get to the end of the day, they feel like they've spent all this time working on their business and they have nothing to show for it and often feel exhausted and frustrated. Does that sound familiar? If so, no, you're not alone, because like I said, I hear this very, very often from the coaches I speak to. And I want to talk a little bit about why you are feeling so overwhelmed and the steps you can take to end this overwhelm so that instead you are free to move forward and actually get results in your business. Okay? So first I want to talk about why so many of us feel totally overwhelmed. And a really big reason is because we have information overload. We are consuming tons and tons of information, and our brain does not know what to do with it. And a lot of times it's little bits and pieces here and there, and we're left to put it together, and we don't know what order to do things in. We don't know really who's right, what to be focusing on. And the more and more information that our brain is taking in, the more overwhelmed we feel because our brain is having to process all that information. And we live in a very unique day and age where we have the internet. We have the internet at the tip of our fingers, literally with our phones, right? Like we can look up anything. We can spend hours and hours scrolling social media, looking at email, like all these different things. And our brains are just totally overwhelmed. And this even goes into looking at like the information that we're taking in through TV and shows we're watching and podcasts and all of that. Like our brains are just full, okay? And this really feels overwhelming for our brains because overwhelm is not an issue of having too much to do, very seldom. Because when it comes to doing anything, we can just do things step by step. Anything we do, it's literally step by step. We just focus on one thing at a time. That is not overwhelming for your brain. What is overwhelming is the amount of information, and when you're thinking about doing all the things and not knowing what to be focusing on, okay? So one of the things I want to say is just really decrease the amount of information that you are taking in and be very mindful of scrolling on your phone, scrolling on your computer, watching tons of free trainings, consuming free ebooks, like all that stuff. I think learning is amazing, but there's a point where we're taking in so much information that our brain isn't able to process it and it's totally overwhelmed. And the really big thing is that when you're taking in so much information, you also block your own intuition, you block your own creativity because you're not leaving any space for that to work, for the creativity to come through, because literally your brain is so busy with consuming that there's no space left for creativity, okay? We have to leave kind of that silence, that space for really nothing in our brain in order for our own voice to speak to us. Otherwise, it's just like consuming, like sorting through all the information, okay? So I'm going to talk about really the top things you can do to stop feeling overwhelmed. And the first one is just what I talked about, like really stop consuming information and do what you need to do to make yourself do this. And that may mean taking social media apps off of your phone. It may mean putting a time limit on your phone so that you can only be on social media apps for a certain amount of time. It may mean putting your phone in the other room when you are working, setting a timer and only focusing on the task ahead in front of you while you're working on something. Really, we need to set ourselves up for success because a lot of these things just become a habit. A lot of us pick up our phone and just start scrolling without even thinking about it, right? And then we're consuming all that information. It's completely overwhelming, and we're kind of keeping ourselves stuck in this cycle. So I want you to really become aware of this and ask yourself, what do I need to do for me to stop consuming so much information? And really putting aside time each day to have some time where you aren't consuming any information and you just have quiet time. This may mean going for a walk and just having silence. It doesn't mean going for a walk and listening to a podcast or listening to music or whatever. Just you need to really give yourself that quiet time for your creativity and your intuition to speak to you, okay? We think that more is more and consuming more is better. And like I said, learning is great. Like I love learning too, but I really leave time in my day just for quiet and not to be consuming information. And the more and more time I leave in my day, the less overwhelmed I feel. And the more I am able to tap into my creativity and get great ideas that I can implement in my business and in my life. Okay. So the second thing is get clear on what specifically you need support with and invest in getting support with that. So instead of consuming a bunch of free information here and there, and it's all scattered and none of it's organized and none of it maybe is specific to you, I highly recommend that you get support and invest in getting support from someone who has been where you are, understands what you need, and can help you with what specifically you need support with. It can be challenging to invest in our business, especially when we're not making money in our business or not making that much money. But when you look at return on investment and how much time and energy getting support will save you, it's totally worth it. Okay. I'm speaking from experience. Like, we all need support. We all need feedback. And I speak to people who spend years spinning their wheels in their business when if they just got the right support, and this is key, the right support. That means someone who gets you, someone you connect with, someone who's been where you are, can support you with what you specifically need support with. That's really important. But it's going to save you that time and that energy, and you can start making money and making progress in your business so much quicker. And so ultimately you're going to end up saving yourself money because you're able to make money quicker. Okay. So the next thing is, this has been a process for me, but really to stop looking outside yourself for how to do things, or this really goes to like comparison and looking at other coaches and looking what other people are doing. Once again, it can be so helpful to just put kind of your blinders on when you're starting a business. I know we want to look at other people and be like, how are they doing it? What's the right way to do it? But once again, this really stops your own creativity and intuition from speaking to you because you're so focused on this person's doing it this way, this person is doing it that way, and thinking that you have to do it like someone else. And the key to being successful in your business really is being authentic and being you and following your intuition. So when you are blocking that voice, you are doing yourself a great disservice. So really put your blinders on, stop looking at what everyone else is doing. There's no right way to start a business, to do your website, to do all these things. The more you can let your authenticity shine, the better you're going to be and the less overwhelmed you're going to be, because you're getting, like I said, you're thinking I have to do it this way and that way and that way and that way, instead of just listening to your own inner voice, which is always your best guide. Okay. The next thing is really recognizing that the way to make forward progress in our business is to take action, learn from our results, and then to take new action. So many of us get stuck in analysis paralysis and perfectionism because we're afraid of taking the wrong action. We're afraid of making mistakes. We're afraid of failure. And the truth is, if you look at any great business people, they have a whole line of mistakes and failures that have led to their success. And we learn so much more by taking action and seeing what happens and then taking new action. You will move forward so much quicker if you take action, allow yourself to make mistakes and see what happens and then take new action than you are to sit and think about what's the best thing to do and to analyze it forever and ever and ever and to procrastinate and to perfect things. I always tell my clients, done is better than perfect. And this is why, because the way to move forward is by taking action, learning, and taking new action. It's not by sitting and overthinking something forever and ever and ever. The way we get clarity and the way we learn is through taking action and seeing what the results are and taking new action. Okay? I promise you, it will make such a difference instead of just sitting and getting stuck in your head and feeling totally overwhelmed. All right? We learn through taking action. And then the very last thing is to keep things super simple. We like to try to overcomplicate everything. I just did a video about why keeping things simple is really the key to success in your business, and I will link that video below. But it is so important. I have kept things super simple in my business. I've had my coaching business for 9 years, and really the key to my success has been to keep things simple. I don't do anything super complicated. I don't use super complicated tech stuff. I don't spend hours and hours like creating fancy graphics or like any of that stuff. I've kept things very simple because what matters in your business is your message, your story, your energy, and your intention. That is what matters. I don't do anything around trying to beat algorithms on any sort of social media, any of that stuff. Like, I really just show up as me. I'm intentional. I obviously care about the message I'm putting out there. I speak from the heart. I share my story. I share my experiences. And that's what matters. So that's what matters in your business too. I promise you. So keep things simple. Speak from the heart. And that is really going to move you forward so much more than getting, focused and worried about like all the complications that we try to bring into running our business. Okay? So these are my top steps for saying goodbye to overwhelm and being able to move forward with your business and actually getting results. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Which of these things do you most need to work on? What is going to most help you move forward and get out of that feeling of overwhelm? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, I'd love to share a free training I have with you. It's all about the steps you can take, the 5 steps, the 6 steps, I think it's the 6 steps, to really start moving forward in your business and getting consistent clients in a way that feels authentic, aligned, no overwhelm, no overcomplication. Let's just keep things simple. The things that actually really matter and will help you get clients. So if you're interested in that, I will link that below this video. I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. And thank you. I will see you in the next video.